The first time I booted up Star Wars Battlefront, I was completely blown away. Everything from the sounds, to the visuals, to the blasters was pure Star Wars heaven. It was everything a fan could have wished for, to be in the universe he loves. And after about 2 weeks, things got pretty stale. The lack of customization, blasters, and locations came down pretty heavy, and you realized you were just doing the same things over and over, and it wasn't fun anymore. Furthermore, EA's greed for money hurted the game, as you not only had to buy the game for $60, but if you wanted the full package, you had to pay another $50 for the season pass. Recently, this season pass was on a heavy sale, and I said, why the fuck not? So I bought it. EA tricked me again, those bastards. And now, with all the content, I have to say, it is a pretty good game. If it had released like this, it would have definitely gotten more praise. But let's get back on what this video is about. So since it sold so well, obviously EA has already come out saying that there will be a Battlefront 2 this year in 2017, because I'm making this video in 2016, so last year, so basically now people are a lot more wary about buying it. So EA should have hopefully learned from their errors, and this time they'll make a fully fledged game instead of just a tech demo. But what exactly do they need to improve? Well, more than improving, they just have to put in some content. Visually, the game is amazing, and Endor still remains one of the best forest recreations I have seen. Battlefield 1 uses the same Frostbite 3 engine, and DICE managed to further improve the graphical quality, but not substantially. In fact, there isn't much difference. Another thing they did right was the various multiplayer modes, which were a lot, and a few of them, like Water Assault, are really fun. However, the DLCs included multi-phase modes, and I wouldn't mind they put them in the new game, so if someone wants a longer game session with more varied objectives, they can have it. Vehicles were a huge part in the previous Battlefront games, that spawned on your end of the map and you could get out of and return anytime you wanted. In DICE's Battlefront, vehicles were treated like a power-up, and once you were in, you stayed in. I would appreciate if they put in more vehicles, as the Empire only has the AT-ST and the Rebels had literally nothing. It's fine by me if they leave the more powerful ones like the AT-AT as a power-up with limited time. Also, I really enjoyed dogfights, but that too became pretty boring. When air vehicles were used in modes like Water Assault, they worked pretty good as you used them for bombing the enemy, and the occasional dogfight that broke out when an enemy got into one too. But their abilities were just so limited, and you couldn't even do crazy maneuvers as rolling and dodging was mapped to specific buttons. And there were only two kinds, X-Wings and A-Wings, or the two TIE Fighters. And they differed for just one tiny ability. Where are the other ships? If you don't even change up the moveset, then why not put 4 or 5 spaceships on each side? You just have to put some new models. Anyway, more varied aircrafts are definitely needed in the new Battlefront. Probably the most fundamental element in first-person shooters are the weapons, and the main problem in Battlefront is, again, the lack of them. There are only 11 weapons in the base game, and it doubles with the DLC, but 22 is an acceptable number for the start if you had all those weapons. I mean, you don't even have to base your weapons on real life ones, you can just invent them. And I might seem like a noob here, but the DLC weapons are actually hard to unlock, and are definitely better than the base game's one, so you can even see an element of pay to win here. Now, another important part are the maps. The 4 locations were all great, from the snowy caverns of Hoth to the sun-scorched rocks of Tatooine, but unfortunately there are only 4 planets. The maps themselves weren't bad, as they were big, with a great level design and spawn points, with choke points and objectives placed in just the right spot. However, there are still plenty of locations you could have had, as noted in the DLCs. I think that probably so much time and effort went into creating these maps and making them as photorealistic as possible that there wasn't any time left to put out other planets. Talking about the DLC ones, I had the feeling that they were a bit rushed and not a lot of thought was put into them as much as the base game's one. What made me have fun in Star Wars Battlefront and that many people criticized was the arcade feeling it had compared to DICE's other series, Battlefield. I really hope the sequel still retains this feeling, for 2 reasons. The first Battlefront games felt arcadey too, and it's good to just jump into a match and have fun, without things getting too complicated. To keep things simple, however, there should not be classes like in all first-person shooters, so there aren't any abilities or buffs. However, they should add some form of communication on consoles, like preset phrases, and remove those useless emotes. And now, probably everybody's biggest complaint is the lack of a campaign. Yes, we all know that EA rushed this game out so they could launch alongside The Force Awakens, and that's the reason it has no single player adventure. This of course is unacceptable, but it seems EA won't get subdued by the dark side again, as they have already come out saying that the new Battlefront game will have a campaign. Now, what precisely do I want from it? Well, there are two types of campaigns I would wish to see. The first one could be a story-driven adventure, where you have your own character you control and maybe you're a rebel and have to sabotage Imperial stuff and all that stuff. So this adventure tells a story and it should intertwine with the movies, so you have the chance to at least see the main cast from Star Wars. So this is a pretty standard campaign. It should last at least 12 hours long, so every location is used. Another type of campaign I would like to see is something similar to Battlefield 1's multiple levels with multiple protagonists. So you could be, for example, an Imperial spy infiltrating the rebel ranks, or a rebel pilot escorting an important cargo through the galaxy. Each of these levels don't necessarily have to have only one type of combat, and they should be split between the movies. Now, my biggest wish is that sooner or later, in the new Battlefront or next one, DICE also includes the prequel era. Yeah, I kinda like the prequels. The movies were okay, but I really prefer the Republican era to the Imperial one. They should really make the game like in the older Battlefronts, where there were dozens of planets, and you could choose in which era you wanted to battle in, and maybe they could include the new movies too. Unfortunately, this will probably never happen, or at least not in Battlefront 2. So we'll see how that goes.